here we go. Oh, wow. Action.
Hey,
All right.
Here we are.
Excellent. Good to see you, Andy. You keeping well?
Okay, we're doing pretty well. I'm glad to be here, glad to have a guitar, glad to be doing some things that we love doing. So, yeah.
Awesome.
How about yourself?
Would you know how, yeah, I'm all good, but I'm really distracted by this guitar that's sat in a case next to me that I haven't seen yet. The guys in the warehouse, so I kept my end of the deal. You know, your guys said, you know, it'd be really great to get your reaction and see the guitar, basically, you know, first time. But they said, look, you know, understand if you can't wait until the interview and you want to see it, but I've kept my end of the deal. I haven't seen the guitar yet, but it's sitting here in its case, waiting to be opened up.
You waited for Christmas. You didn't peek at the presents.
No, not this time.
Well, let me give you a short little preamble then, because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that are different here, and that's, I guess, in a way, that's why it makes it kind of fun to have a bit of surprise. To go, A lot of times when we launch things, or you see something, you go, yeah, this is sort of what I would expect. You know, it's a guitar. It's a guitar that's a Taylor guitar. Well,
sure.
Well, yeah, I get that, and we're known for doing some interesting things and changing it up from time and again. But as far as Taylor guitars goes, we kind of know the sort of instruments that we make, at least that we're known for making. I mean, what is Taylor guitars? Well, it's a modern acoustic guitar. You know, it's something like this. This one's a Builder's Edition 814. You know, they kind of got all the cool modern stuff. This the cool contour cutaway, this armrest, you know, super high fidelity, very linear, like all kinds of things. Well, that's great, but even kind of at a more fundamental level than that, we're known for building guitars that play really well, have good fretwork, very accurate pitch, great intonation, they're well balanced, and that's good. They're serviceable, they're reliable. Those are all very practical things. And I love them because they serve the musician very well. But as a guitar maker, that's not the only flavor of guitar that I like making. I mean, this is a great guitar. I love these. I love the way they sound. I love what they do.
All the customers love the Builder's Edition specs, you know, with the contours and all the, you know, all the cool stuff that you've added to those guitars. They love them.
I do too. I think that's great. And yet at the same time, I go, it's not the only flavor of guitar I like. There's all kinds of cool stuff that is out there that would be fun to make, right?
100%.
And sometimes when you do things a little different, you go, well, you gotta understand that it's different enough. So if I start taking a little bit of info from, kind of inspiration from my past life as a guitar maker, my pre-Taylor life.
Yeah.
Well, in that world, I worked on a lot of different kinds of guitars by a lot of different makers from a lot of different eras. And as a guitar player, well, there's some of that I like. I like these flavors. I like this kind of shared heritage that we as a community of guitar players have to go, yeah, I remember these sounds and these influences, and they all sort of percolate down into this pool of common guitar knowledge. And so I wanted to build a guitar that was kind of in keeping with my understanding of guitar history. So there's something a little different in that case. So if this is a guitar that represents the modern Taylor acoustic guitar, it's a great guitar, great instrument. I love it very much. I want you to open up the case, and I want to see what you find in that one.
Right. Well, let's just. I'm just going to tilt this round here just a little bit as well. We've got some extra cameras running in the room as well, but let me just open this one up so that you can see actually what I think. Yeah, I think we are. Right, here we go. Oh, wow. Very different. I was impressed straight away just by the that lovely case as well. Let's check this out. Let me spin this back around again. So here we go. Tell me more.
Okay, so the guitar you have in your hands there is something that's totally new for us. By totally I mean all the significant parts of that guitar. The new body shape, the architecture inside the body is a new kind of revision of some ideas we've been working on for years. Even the neck is different. So stylistically, of course, we'll kind of decorate it to match. But what I'd love for you to do, play a couple of chords on it.
Okay. Yes, got that harmonic there.
Now,
beautiful.
Straight away, you'll notice that the sound that comes out of that guitar isn't the same sound that we're known for.
No. This guitar's so many overtones, even with my headphones on. I mean, these I've got the the mic mode on, which amplifies everything a lot more through the headphones. But you can even hear through there. There's just so many overtones going on, and I would have never have said this guitar was Koa as well. You know, just based on my right. Previous experience of Koa.
That is, it's not what you would normally think of. Is that
no
the low end response, the warmth in the mid range?
Yeah,
it's a totally different kind of presentation of a sound than what we're, as Taylor guitars, we're known for. I mean, we're known for building these very modern, high fidelity, kind of linear sounding guitars. I love that.
Yeah,
but I also love to hear like the richness and the low end warmth out of a more heritage based design. Something that has kind of some broadness in the response. But what becomes so interesting to me is when I play that. There's a thing there. I go, man, I have never heard that out of one of the guitars.
It's got a real growl to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got this low-end power and broad response that carries over into the mid-range. There's a real warmth to it. Even in the high end, there's a... how do I say that? There's some lung power behind those notes.
It's definitely a different voice, isn't it, to what I'm used to from hearing one of your guitars.
Yeah, very different. And yet equally good, just in a totally different way. It's like I said earlier, this is a guitar that knows its guitar history.
Yeah. So in terms of the, like to me, seeing the nomenclature for it, it's an 814E, but is it a bigger table across the guitar? From this side, is it larger?
So let's dive into this. What do you do to make a totally different sound? Okay. Well, there's a couple of different parts that are real interesting. I mean, a lot of this goes back to when we first introduced the V-Class idea some years ago. Well, that was a radically new way to build a guitar for us, or anybody else for that matter, I guess. But when we first presented it, it's like, wow, we could get more sustain out of the guitar, better balance, better pitch accuracy. And yet there was something, we kind of mentioned it back then, but we haven't had all the chances to explore it yet, which is that this is a more adaptable design. It can be voiced in a wider variety of ways to get different kinds of sounds. You could derive a lot of different flavors out of that thing. And so the first thing that we do is go, okay, we've got this radical, crazy new idea. Let's voice it to sound as Taylor-ish as we can. So we take what we've kind of instinctively know as a Taylor sound and go, let's drive it that direction.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. And then we started dipping our toes into the water with the introduction of the Grand Pacific shape. Go, okay, here's a little different flavor. It's a real high fidelity version of what an older guitar might have been like. And this goes even further. So now you're hearing this thing go, and if I closed my eyes, I'm not even sure what era I would have taken that guitar from, except that I have note accuracy that I've never had on any old design. I mean, I could play high on the fretboard, play all 6 strings, and have them play in tune.
Yeah.
I have
really
balance all over the whole fretboard. And yet I've got
Even when you moved up there to do that bar chord, it was like when you was right up there, it still had really great volume, didn't it, as well?
It has a ton of power and balance over all the strings. It's got balance, it's in tune. All kinds of stuff. And yet I've got this timbre, this sonority, man, that I've never heard out of one of our guitars.
And it's immediate. As soon as you hit the note, it's there, isn't it? That new sound, whatever, or the new sound that's come to a Taylor. It's immediately there. I can hear it.
Yeah,
it's one of those impossible jobs.
It's not
how
subtle.
How do you describe a sound? Yeah.
So you hear that thing go, whoa, whoa, hey, this is a different day. And so how do we get that? Well, for one, the shape is new. We call it an auditorium shape because it's in the same basic size range as our grand auditorium guitar that we've been known for making for years.
Yeah.
The dimensions are similar. The curves that connect those dots, those are different. And so this guitar has a little more round profile on the lower bout, a little tighter waist, a little broader, rounder shoulder. We'll call this a super auditorium. And so we have a new shape. This is still a V-class guitar, like I mentioned, but this is a different voicing of that specifically to derive this kind of a sound out of an acoustic guitar. So we've got those two key parts. The next element is that the neck on this guitar is something very new and very different for us. So let me talk about that for a minute. For the first 25 years of Taylor's history, we attached a neck to a body with some hardware in the heel of the neck and glued the fretboard down. Now that was a big improvement over the way that people had put guitars together for a long time. It was a more makeable, serviceable, reliable thing. I mean, I think a lot of guitar players have had the experience of maybe a traditional dovetailed neck where you need a neck reset. You go, ooh, that's going to take a long time and cost you a lot of money.
And you always think, is the guitar ever going to be the same?
Right.
As well.
You don't know.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. I mean, it's obviously done to try and help, get a better action or whatever. But always in your mind, is it going to be the same?
Yeah. And sometimes it's not. Did it get overset? Did we lean into it too much? Did it? Sure. There's a lot of variables there. I mean, that's like open heart surgery on a guitar. It's a major ordeal.
Yeah.
And so the way that we first started putting guitar necks together, man, hey, this is pretty good. This is working. And then along came the Taylor NT neck. We developed that about 25 years in, which takes it even a step further because now there's no glue at all. It's just hardware. And so you have unbelievably precise control over where that neck gets set. Well, you can change it without any harmful effect, and you are free to change it back as the guitar continues to age. That was a huge improvement. Well, for the next era of Taylor's life, we're going to look at a neck like this. Now, this is something new, totally new for us, where it's a long tenon design. From that, I can derive some different kinds of sounds. But this is a fully adjustable neck, where with the turn of a screw, I can change the string height. I can change the action. You never take the neck apart at all. You just adjust the guitar.
Okay.
It's pretty wild. Man, so for the life of this guitar, setting this thing up for optimum playability, you'll adjust the truss rod to the amount of relief that you want, and then you'll adjust the neck angle. And you're done.
Right.
You no longer took it apart. You didn't take the strings off. You didn't even detune the strings. You just adjust it to where you like it, and then start playing. And so it's an interesting piece in that we could take maybe one of the most radical new ideas that we've developed and put it into a form of guitar that's even more traditional and more traditional sounding than any we've ever built. So those three things together, this shape, this particular voicing of V-class, this new neck, put that together in this guitar and go, man, now I have something that's a pretty special piece.
Yeah. You can hear you're hardly touching that, and the notes are just jumping straight out, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, very much. There is if you think of a guitar like a mechanical amplifier, well, how much of my string energy, how much of my effort is actually turning into sound? This guitar, you put even a tiny bit of effort into it, and it feels like it's a net gain that's coming out. You barely touch the thing, and the response is huge. So this is the first piece. These are the first guitars of what we'll call the Gold Label collection. These are instruments that are meant as a counterpoint. If you thought about Builder's Edition collection guitars, like that 814 or the Builder's Edition K14 or K24 with their ultra-modern cutaway and armrest and very high fidelity sound, that's like the ultra Taylor, the hyper Taylor, the very modern. These are meant as guitars that are counterpoint to those things. Different sound, different voicing, different feel, right? They're equally good, just different kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why, even cosmetically, the aesthetic value of this guitar had to be different in order to match what it is we're hearing and feeling.
Yeah.
So if we start up at this headstock end, it's different enough that we go, okay, I need a different peg head shape. For the sharp-eyed Taylor player, this actually has a little of Taylor's legacy in it, where we have the little side scoops and points, plus the center of design I used in my pre-Taylor life, and have put in there. It was started as a hand-drawn name on that headstock. Back cut angle, kind of more reminiscent of what so kind of the early archtop guitar tradition out of the 20s and 30s, mandolins and banjos. Mostly forgotten in flat top guitar world, but just little touches like that, different inlay design done in genuine mother of pearl, even down to the pickguard and shape where this is altered and used an old kind of decorating technique where we're engraving through celluloid into layers underneath to kind of put a little more cowboy fancy on it. Have a little fun
yeah, it's
with
a really
it that
nice
way.
touch, yeah.
So different elements that are taken from the history of guitars put into this instrument to go, man, well, this is an instrument that's inspiring to play, inspiring to hold and see where it leads you.
I'm really I didn't think I'd be seeing a new neck design today.
I know it's quite interesting, and in a way it feels real special for us to look at, call it year 51 as we come into this new year and go, man, all right, we've been proud of what we've accomplished in the last 50 years as guitar makers, and guess what? We're not done. We're still looking forward to go, okay, here's what's coming next. Here's what we're doing. This is going to be even better for musicians. This will serve them at an even higher level. Where you look at a neck reset and go, well, it's not a service anymore. It's a simple adjustment. It takes about 20 seconds. It's that easy. Well, that would be better for guitar players. And so let's take that and let's make sure that it's not weird. Let's make it nice. Let's make it beautiful. Let's make it lighter weight, more comfortable to hold. All of those things.
Yeah.
So we're going to start building these guitars with pretty simple choices for now. The one you have in your hands is roasted spruce with koa on the back and sides.
Yeah.
The one I have is roasted spruce with Honduras rosewood on the back and sides. And that's how we'll build those two versions, with a sunburst top or with a natural top. But those are the options for now. Well, simplified menu, but that's what I want to hear in these guitars.
Wow. And so it'll be the gold label 814E koa and then just the rosewood version as well. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah,
Couldn't
decorated
help but
alike.
notice the different pickup system as well to what we used to seeing from you guys.
Yeah, now I love our ES2 pickup system. I think it works really well for a lot of players in a lot of situations. But for a couple of reasons in this guitar, it didn't seem like the right choice. Most notably, I don't want to see the three knobs right here. Didn't seem like it fit the character of the guitar. I don't think it fit how people are going to play this guitar, the environments they might use it in. I don't think it would be a player's first choice for this instrument. So for that reason, we've elected to use a real simple kind of, call it traditional undersaddle pickup. I know we're going to play it on stage, but I just don't want to see the knobs there. And I don't think other players do either. So this seemed like the best choice. That way, if somebody has a different idea of what they want to put in there at some point in the future, we can kind of just evaporate the system that's in here.
Sure.
And put something else in.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's like my first impression, just looking at the guitar, it's like it feels familiar, but it's still confusing me, like almost at the same time, because it's in a good way, because I'm like, wow, I've just never seen you guys do anything like this before. You know, it's every time a new model comes out, or you refresh like a 5 series or 6 series model, it always feels like, that's kind of like the logical progression, in the overall Taylor family world. Now you've updated the 8 series, now we'll bring it across to, the rest of the range or whatever, but this just feels, a really kind of big step in a different kind of, just in a completely different direction that I guess that you couldn't have achieved by just going, hey, we're going to revoice the, the 700 series to this. Right. This is it now. This is like almost a brand within a brand, isn't it?
In a way, it is. In a way, it really is. To go, well, if we know we like building guitars of different kinds, why should we limit ourselves to just one flavor?
Exactly.
Right? there's all kinds of different things there's a lot of different delicious things you can eat. It's not always the same flavor that's going to float. That's going to float your boat. Like, well, I'm in the mood for something different. I like this sound too. I like this kind of flavor. I like this thing. What I want to achieve though is to build a guitar that gives me this kind of sound that still serves the musician well. Well, I want it to be reliable. I want it to have ultra accurate notes, great intonation, good balance, good projection. I just want the sonority and the feel, even the look, to be different.
Yeah. It's a pretty.
So we're having fun with this. It's inspiring to see what musicians start doing with it, and to watch kind of the initial impressions of the sound of this guitar, because it hits players so quickly. It's like, well, at one strum, this is clearly not the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I can see, you see obviously the DNA, it's Taylor heritage, is totally all there. But, it's almost kind of like you've gone back in a time machine and just gone, hey, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this instead. And like, this is like the result, like 50 years later, if you'd gone in kind of like a different direction to where kind of Taylor started out.
That's a good observation, because that's very much, as a design, that's where this originated from. Saying, well, if I imagined what Taylor would have made a long time ago, 100 years ago, 90 years ago, 80 years ago, well, there's elements, there's inspirations and influences that I would have wanted to put into the guitar. So coming out of the mandolin tradition, the banjo tradition, kind of these decorative parts, the sound, the feel, the way people use their instruments, let's take some of that and put it into this design. And yet, let's leave the things that we know time hasn't been kind to. We're going to leave those away.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. I can't wait to get the headphones off and have a, now that it's free into the world for me to try out. I can't wait to, actually have a good play on it and stuff. And, the guys in the warehouse, when I said, what is it like? They were like, well, just wait and see. You'll wait and see. I was like, oh, come on. They wasn't giving anything away. I was like, it is in one piece though, isn't it? Because otherwise this is going to go badly wrong. If I open the case up and the headstock's not there anymore.
God, yeah, that would be a sad day for us all.
There is like this, just from that one quick strum, this sounds like a played-in guitar. There's no tightness. It's got all that the depth, the kind of what is it? The word I'm looking for. It's just the headroom. It has the headroom there straight away. It sounds like I know you said it's got the the baked top, but it sounds like an old wood, an old guitar, doesn't it? It's got that straight away. So it's exciting times, and with this playability there straight away, I'm looking at it and I'm like, the guys can't do anything to this guitar. It's perfection already.
Well, thank you for that. Have fun with it. It's
we will.
I've been inspired to play these a lot. It feels like a guitar that you want to just keep playing.
And that's maybe what I'll do and never get any more work done. And you'll be to blame, Andy.
Well. Glad to provide some fodder for unproductivity. Maybe have a coffee first.
Well, I'm the boss, so I can do what I want. So
fair enough. Well, with that, Enjoy it, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, Andy. All the best.
Take care.